My mother-in-law banned me from the party I spent $5,000 planning, so I dismantled the party, destroyed the illusion, and left her crying in shame. I used to think that planning the perfect party for my mother-in-law would finally make her love me, until she banned me from attending the celebration. I spent 3 months and $5,000 organizing, and I realized that some people will never see you as family no matter how hard you try. My name is Madison Clark. I'm 32 years old, and I work as a professional event planner in downtown Chicago. For the past 4 years, I've been married to David Benson, a wonderful man whose only flaw is his inability to see how toxic his family really is. His mother, Margaret Benson, is a 50-year-old retired elementary school teacher who has made it abundantly clear that I will never be good enough for her precious son. From the moment David and I got engaged, Margaret treated me like a temporary inconvenience. She'd make passive-aggressive comments about my career, suggesting that real women prioritize family over work. She'd reminisce about David's ex-girlfriends, particularly one named Jennifer who would have made such a wonderful daughter-in-law. At family gatherings, she'd introduce me to her friends as David's wife rather than using my name, as if my identity was solely defined by my relationship to her son. But I kept trying. I sent birthday cards, Christmas gifts, Mother's Day flowers. I attended every family dinner, complimented her cooking, asked about her hobbies. David would tell me I was being too sensitive when I mentioned her coldness, that his mother just needed time to warm up to me. The breaking point came last January when Margaret's 50th birthday was approaching. David's sister Sarah, who lived just 20 minutes away, made it clear she had no intention of organizing anything special. "Mom's not really into big celebrations," she said dismissively when David brought it up during a family dinner. "Besides, I'm too busy with work to plan anything elaborate." David seemed disappointed but resigned. "I guess we'll just take her out to dinner or something," he said. That's when I saw an opportunity. Maybe if I planned something truly spectacular for Margaret's milestone birthday, she'd finally see that I cared about her, that I wanted to be part of the family. Maybe this would be the gesture that broke down the walls between us. "What if I organized something special?" I suggested carefully. "I mean, it is what I do for a living. I could plan a beautiful celebration for her." David's face lit up. "Madison, that would be amazing. Mom would love that." I should have paid attention to the look on Sarah's face when I made that offer. She looked like she'd just tasted something sour, but I was too excited about the possibility of finally winning Margaret over to notice the warning signs. I threw myself into planning Margaret's party with the same passion and attention to detail I brought to my professional events. I spent hours researching venues, interviewing caterers, designing custom invitations. This wasn't just going to be a nice birthday party. This was going to be an unforgettable celebration that would show Margaret exactly how much I valued her. The venue I chose was Riverside Gardens, an elegant event space overlooking Lake Michigan. The rental fee alone was $1,200, but the setting was perfect, sophisticated, beautiful, and exactly the kind of place where Margaret could feel special and celebrated. I hired Harmony Catering, known for their exquisite presentation and gourmet menu, and worked with them to create a custom dining experience featuring all of Margaret's favorite foods. The guest list included 50 people: Margaret's friends, former teaching colleagues, extended family members, and neighbors. I designed and printed beautiful invitations with gold lettering and Margaret's name elegantly scripted across handmade paper. I even included a heartfelt message: "Join us in celebrating 50 years of Margaret Benson's warmth, wisdom, and wonderful spirit." For entertainment, I hired a jazz trio that specialized in music from the 1970s and 80s. Margaret's favorite era I arranged for a professional photographer to capture every moment, and I worked with a floral designer to create centerpieces featuring Margaret's beloved gardenias. The cake was a work of art, a 3-tier vanilla and raspberry creation from Chicago's premier bakery, decorated with delicate sugar flowers and a custom cake topper that read 50 years of grace and beauty. I even arranged for a surprise video montage featuring birthday wishes from Margaret's out-of-state relatives and old friends. Every detail was perfect, and every detail came from my own savings account. David offered to help with the costs, but I insisted on handling everything myself. This was my gift to Margaret, my investment in our relationship, my proof that I belonged in this family. The total cost was just over $5,000, a significant expense for us, But I convinced myself it would be worth it when I saw the joy on Margaret's face, when she finally realized how much I cared about her. As the party date approached, I coordinated with everyone involved: the venue, caterers, musicians, photographer, and florist. I created a detailed timeline, handled all the logistics, and even arranged for transportation for elderly guests who might need assistance getting to the venue. Sarah's attitude throughout the planning process should have been another red flag. Whenever I updated the family on the party plans, she'd make snide comments about how fancy everything sounded, how I was really going all out, how she hoped Margaret wouldn't feel overwhelmed by such an elaborate celebration. "It's just a birthday party," she said during one family dinner. "I mean, Mom's a simple person, she doesn't need all this production." I tried to stay positive. "I just want to make it special for her. It's her 50th birthday. That's a milestone worth celebrating." "I'm sure it is," Sarah replied with a tight smile. "I just hope you're not doing this for the wrong reasons." "What do you mean?" "I mean, some people throw big parties to make themselves look good, not because they actually care about the person being celebrated." David immediately jumped to my defense. "Sarah, that's completely unfair. Madison is putting incredible time and effort into this because she loves Mom." "If you say so," Sarah replied, but her expression made it clear she thought otherwise. Margaret herself seemed pleased but oddly distant about the planning. Whenever I asked her opinion about menu choices or decoration preferences, she'd give vague answers like "whatever you think is best, dear," or "I'm sure it will be lovely." I interpreted this as trust in my professional abilities, but looking back, I think she was already being influenced by Sarah's poison. 2 weeks before the party, the invitations were sent, RSVPs were coming in, and everything was perfectly organized. I was so proud of what I'd created, so excited to see Margaret's reaction, so hopeful that this would be the turning point in our relationship. Then, the day before the party, Margaret called me. "Madison, dear, I need to talk to you about tomorrow's celebration." "Of course, I'm so excited. Everything is ready and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. The weather forecast is perfect, the caterers confirmed all the details, and actually, that's what I need to discuss. I've been thinking, and I believe it would be best if you didn't attend the party tomorrow." The words hit me like a physical blow. I was sitting in my office, going over final details for Margaret's party, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. "I'm sorry, what did you say?" "I think it would be better if you stayed home tomorrow. You've done such wonderful work organizing everything, and now you can rest and enjoy a quiet evening while we celebrate." "Margaret, I don't understand. Why wouldn't I attend the party I planned for you?" There was a long pause, and when she spoke again, her voice had that careful, measured tone she used when she was delivering bad news to her elementary school students. "Well, Sarah has pointed out that your presence at the party might make some people uncomfortable. She's concerned that you're treating this as an opportunity to showcase your professional skills rather than a genuine celebration of my birthday." I felt like I was falling down a well. "Sarah said that? She's worried that you're more interested in impressing people with your event planning abilities than in actually honoring me. And frankly, dear, after thinking about it, I can see her point. The party has become quite elaborate, much more elaborate than anything I would have chosen for myself. Margaret, every single detail was chosen with you in mind. The venue, the menu, the music, the flowers. Everything reflects your tastes and preferences. I spent months researching what would make you happy. I appreciate that, dear, but Sarah feels that your enthusiasm might overshadow the actual purpose of the celebration. She thinks people will spend more time talking about how impressive the party is than actually celebrating my birthday. So you want me to stay home from the party I spent 3 months planning and $5,000 funding because Sarah is jealous? That's not what this is about, Madison. This is about what's best for the family. Sarah is my daughter, and her feelings matter to me. If she's uncomfortable with the situation, then we need to respect that." I was shaking with anger and disbelief. "Margaret, do you hear yourself right now? You're uninviting me from a party that exists only because I created it. Without me, there would be no party. Sarah didn't want to plan anything for you. She said you weren't into big celebrations, and that she was too busy to organize anything. Sarah has her own way of showing love. What way is that exactly? Because from where I'm sitting, Sarah's way of showing love is doing absolutely nothing for your birthday, and then sabotaging the efforts of the person who actually cares enough to celebrate you. Madison, please don't make this more difficult than it needs to be. The party will go on as planned, and you can feel proud knowing that you created something beautiful. But your presence there would complicate things, and I think it's better for everyone if you simply step back." I was quiet for a long moment, trying to process what was happening. Finally, I asked the question that I already knew would destroy me. "Margaret, do you want me not to come because you agree with Sarah that I'm doing this for selfish reasons, or do you want me not to come because you're choosing Sarah's comfort over my feelings?" Another long pause. I think Sarah knows me better than you do, dear. She understands what I need, what would make me truly happy. And what would make me happy is a peaceful celebration with my family, without any tension. The only tension here is coming from Sarah's jealousy and your willingness to enable it. Madison, you're getting emotional. Of course I'm getting emotional. I've spent 3 months and $5,000 planning a party to honor you, and you're banning me from attending because your daughter convinced you that I have ulterior motives. The money was your choice. The money was my gift to you. Just like the time, the effort, the research, the coordination. It was all my gift to you because I love you and I wanted to celebrate you, and I hoped that maybe finally you'd see me as part of your family. Madison, please calm down. No, I will not calm down. Do you want to know what Sarah's real problem is? Her real problem is that she feels guilty. She feels guilty that she didn't want to do anything special for your birthday. And she feels guilty that your daughter-in-law cares more about celebrating you than your actual daughter does. So instead of dealing with her guilt, she's decided to make me the villain. That's not fair to Sarah. What's not fair is you choosing her guilt over my love. What's not fair is you treating me like hired help instead of family. What's not fair is you taking everything I've given you and then telling me I'm not welcome to see you enjoy it. Margaret's voice got colder. Madison, I think you need to take some time to think about why you're really doing this. Ask yourself whether you're organizing this party because you love me, or because you want people to think well of you. That question was like a knife to my heart, because it revealed exactly how Margaret saw me. Not as a daughter-in-law who loved her, not as a woman trying to build a relationship with her husband's mother, but as someone with selfish, manipulative motives. You know what, Margaret? You're absolutely right. I should ask myself why I'm doing this. And here's my answer. I'm doing this because I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot who thought that kindness and generosity and effort might eventually earn me a place in this family. I'm an idiot who believed that if I just tried hard enough you might eventually see me as something other than an inconvenience. Madison, but you've made it very clear that no matter what I do, no matter how much I give, no matter how hard I try, I will never be family to you. I will always be the outsider, the interloper, the person who stole your son away from the life you planned for him. That's not true. It absolutely is true. And you know what? I'm done. I'm done trying to win your love. I'm done sacrificing my time and money and energy for someone who sees every gesture as manipulation. I'm done being grateful for scraps of basic human decency from someone who should be grateful to have me in her life. Madison, please don't say things you'll regret. The only thing I regret is waiting 4 years to have this conversation. I hung up the phone and sat in my office for 10 minutes, just breathing. Then I started making calls. The first call was to Riverside Gardens. Hi, this is Madison Clark. I need to cancel the event scheduled for tomorrow evening under the name Margaret Benson. Miss Clark, that's very short notice. Our cancellation policy, I understand there will be fees. Cancel everything. The room rental, the setup, all of it. Next, I called Harmony Catering. This is Madison Clark. I need to cancel the catering order for the Margaret Benson party tomorrow. Ma'am, we've already prepared much of the food. This is going to result in significant charges. Bill me for whatever you need to. Cancel the order. I called the jazz trio, the photographer, the florist, the bakery, every vendor, every service provider, every person who was going to make Margaret's party magical. I canceled everything. Some of them argued about the timing, warned me about cancellation fees, tried to talk me out of it. But here's the thing about being a professional event planner. You learn exactly how these contracts work. You learn what can be canceled and what can't, what will cost you money and what won't. More importantly, I was the one who had signed all the contracts. I was the one whose credit card was on file. I was the one who had the legal authority to cancel everything, because I was the one who had created everything. By 5 o'clock that evening, Margaret's 50th birthday party had been completely dismantled. The venue was canceled, the food was canceled, the music was canceled, the flowers were canceled, the cake was canceled. 50 people were expecting to attend an elegant celebration the next evening, and there was going to be nothing there for them to attend. David came home that night to find me sitting in our living room with a glass of wine and a pile of cancellation confirmations. "Hey babe, how are the final preparations going for Mom's party tomorrow?" "There is no party tomorrow." He stared at me. "What do you mean?" I handed him the stack of papers. "I mean, I canceled everything. The venue, the catering, the entertainment, all of it. There is no party." "Madison, what are you talking about? Why would you cancel Mom's party?" "Because your mother uninvited me from the party I planned for her. She decided that Sarah's jealousy was more important than my feelings, so she told me not to come tomorrow." David's face went through several expressions: confusion, disbelief, then anger. "She did what?" "She called me this afternoon and told me that my presence at the party would make people uncomfortable. That Sarah thinks I'm just showing off my professional skills instead of genuinely celebrating your mother. She said it would be better for everyone if I just stayed home." "That's insane. You've been working on this party for months?" "3 months. And $5,000 of my own money. Also that your mother could tell me I'm not welcome at the celebration." David sat down heavily beside me. "Madison, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." "Of course you didn't. Because your family is very good at hiding their true feelings from you while making their contempt for me perfectly clear to me." "What did you say when Mom told you not to come?" "I told her the truth. That Sarah is jealous because she didn't want to do anything for your mother's birthday. And now she feels guilty that I cared enough to plan something special. That your mother was choosing Sarah's comfort over my feelings. That I was tired of trying to earn a place in a family that will never accept me. And then you canceled the party. And then I canceled the party. Because why should I fund and organize a celebration for someone who doesn't want me there? Why should I spend my money so that Sarah can enjoy the fruits of my labor while I sit at home excluded from the festivities?" David was quiet for a long time. Finally he said, "Madison, I understand why you're hurt. I understand why you're angry. But canceling the party, Mom's going to be devastated. All those people expecting to celebrate with her, all those people can take your mother and Sarah out to dinner tomorrow night. I'm sure Sarah will be happy to pick up the check since she's so concerned about who gets credit for celebrating your mother. That's not fair. What's not fair is your mother treating me like hired help. What's not fair is her taking everything I've given her and then deciding I'm not worthy to witness her enjoyment of it. What's not fair is Sarah poisoning your mother against me because she's too selfish to plan a party herself. But Mom doesn't have anything now. No party, no celebration. That's not my problem anymore, David. I offered to give your mother a beautiful celebration and she threw it back in my face. I'm not going to reward that behavior by letting her have the party while excluding me from it. Madison, please, can't you just ignore what Mom said and show up anyway? Show that you're the bigger person?" I looked at my husband, this man I loved who still didn't understand what his family had put me through, and I felt something fundamental shift in our relationship. "David, I need you to understand something. This isn't about being the bigger person. This isn't about forgiveness or family harmony. This is about self-respect. Your mother made a choice to exclude me from a party that exists only because of my effort and generosity. I'm making a choice to not reward that behavior. But what about all the guests? What about the people who are expecting to celebrate with her? What about them? They'll figure it out. Maybe they'll ask Sarah why there's no party. Maybe they'll ask your mother why she uninvited the person who planned the celebration. Maybe for once, the people who actually created this problem will have to face the consequences of their actions." The next evening, David went to his mother's house to be with her when the guests arrived at Riverside Gardens and found nothing. No reserved dining room, no decorations, no food, no music, no cake. Just a regular Saturday night at a restaurant that had no record of any special event. David told me later that his phone started ringing around 7 o'clock, confused guests calling to ask if they had the wrong time or the wrong venue. Margaret's friends wondering if the party had been moved, extended family members asking what was going on. By 8 o'clock it became clear that there was no party. Margaret and Sarah had to call people to explain that the celebration had been canceled due to unforeseen circumstances. They didn't tell people the real reason, of course. They couldn't very well admit that Margaret had uninvited the person who planned and funded the entire event. Some of the guests drove to Margaret's house instead, bringing birthday gifts and wanting to at least wish her well on her special day. Margaret had to host an impromptu gathering in her small living room, serving store-bought cookies and grocery store wine to people who had dressed up for an elegant evening celebration. David said his mother cried that night, not just from disappointment about the party, but from humiliation. Her friends kept asking what had happened, why such an elaborate celebration had been cancelled at the last minute. She couldn't tell them the truth without admitting that she had rejected her daughter-in-law's generous gift because her biological daughter was jealous. Sarah, meanwhile, was forced to witness the consequences of her manipulation. She watched her mother's disappointment and embarrassment, fielded questions from confused relatives, and realized that her jealousy had destroyed something beautiful that her mother would have truly enjoyed. The following Monday, Margaret called me. "Madison, I owe you an apology." "Yes, you do. I made a terrible mistake. I let Sarah's concerns cloud my judgment, and I hurt you deeply. The party would have been beautiful and I was wrong to exclude you from it." "Margaret, you didn't just exclude me from it. You excluded me after taking everything I had to give. You accepted my time, my money, my effort, my creativity, my love. And then you told me I wasn't worthy to be present when you enjoyed the fruits of that labor." I know, and I'm so sorry." Sarah has admitted that she was jealous, that she felt guilty for not planning anything herself. She knows she was wrong to turn me against you. That's very nice, but it doesn't undo what happened. It doesn't give me back the money I spent, or the 3 months I invested in trying to make you happy. Most importantly, it doesn't change the fact that you chose to believe I had selfish motives, instead of recognizing that I was trying to show you love. Madison, please. Is there any way we can move past this? Any way you might forgive me and give me another chance to be the mother-in-law you deserve? I was quiet for a long time, thinking about her question. Finally, I said, "Margaret, I forgive you. But forgiveness doesn't mean going back to the way things were. You've shown me exactly how you see me, exactly how much my feelings matter to you, exactly what I can expect if I continue trying to build a relationship with you. What does that mean? It means I'm done trying to earn your love. I'm done spending my time and money and energy trying to prove that I'm worthy of being part of this family. I'm done accepting scraps of basic human decency from someone who should be grateful to have me in her life. Madison, please don't give up on us." "I'm not giving up on us, Margaret. I'm establishing boundaries. I will be polite to you. I will attend family gatherings when David wants me there. I will treat you with the basic respect that any human being deserves. But I will not go out of my way to win your approval anymore. I will not sacrifice my own well-being for your comfort. And I will certainly never again put myself in a position where you can reject my generosity while expecting to benefit from it." That sounds so cold. It's not cold, Margaret. It's healthy. For 4 years I've been trying to force a relationship that you didn't want. I've been giving and giving and giving, hoping that eventually you'd give something back. Now I understand that you never will, and I'm okay with that. But I'm also done pretending that your rejection doesn't hurt, and I'm done setting myself up for more hurt. What about David? This affects him too. David is learning to see his family clearly for the first time in his life. He's realizing that the people he loves haven't always treated the person he married with kindness or respect. That's something he needs to work through, but it's not my responsibility to make that process easier by continuing to accept poor treatment. Margaret was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I really did ruin everything, didn't I? You made a choice, Margaret. You chose Sarah's jealousy over my feelings. You chose to believe that I had selfish motives rather than loving ones. You chose to reject my gift while expecting to benefit from it. Those were your choices, and now you have to live with the consequences. Is there anything I can do to fix this? You can accept that relationships have to be built on mutual respect, and that respect can't be demanded. It has to be earned. You can recognize that I've been trying to earn your respect for 4 years, and you've given me none in return. You can understand that going forward, I will treat you exactly as well as you treat me, nothing more and nothing less." After I hung up with Margaret, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: peace. For the first time since marrying David, I wasn't anxiously wondering how to win his mother's approval. I wasn't planning elaborate gestures or trying to prove my worth. I had finally accepted that Margaret would never see me as family, and I had stopped needing her to. The story of Margaret's cancelled birthday party spread through their social circle, of course. People talked. They wondered why such an elaborate celebration had been cancelled at the last minute. Some of them heard the real story, that Margaret had uninvited her daughter-in-law after accepting months of planning and thousands of dollars in funding. The reaction was not kind to Margaret or Sarah. People understood that family dynamics could be complicated, but most of them thought it was appalling that a mother would reject such a generous gift from her son's wife. Margaret's reputation in her social circle never fully recovered. Sarah, meanwhile, learned a hard lesson about the consequences of jealousy. She had wanted to prevent me from showing off at her mother's party, and she had succeeded, but in doing so, she had also prevented her mother from having any party at all. Her manipulation had backfired spectacularly, leaving her mother hurt and embarrassed on her milestone birthday. David's relationship with his family changed permanently after that incident. He finally saw clearly how they had been treating me, and he was appalled. He started setting boundaries with his mother and sister, making it clear that disrespecting me meant disrespecting him. For the first time in our marriage, I felt like he was truly on my team. My career, meanwhile, flourished. Word spread about my event planning skills, even if it was in the context of a dramatic family story. Several people who had been invited to Margaret's cancelled party reached out to hire me for their own events. They had seen the invitations, heard about the elaborate plans, and were impressed by the level of detail and creativity I had put into the celebration. If you can plan something that beautiful for someone who treats you badly, one potential client told me, imagine what you could do for someone who actually appreciates you. 6 months later, I was booked solid with high-end clients who valued my work and treated me with the respect I deserved. My business had never been more successful, and I had never felt more confident in my professional abilities. Margaret and I maintain a cordial but distant relationship now. She's polite to me at family gatherings, and I'm polite to her in return. She doesn't try to control or manipulate me anymore, perhaps because she knows I won't tolerate it. I don't go out of my way to include her in my life, and she doesn't expect me to. Sarah apologized eventually, admitting that her jealousy had been unfair and destructive. I accepted her apology, but our relationship remains surface level. I learned that some people will always see generosity as a threat rather than a gift, and I don't have the energy to try to change that perception. The most important change has been in my marriage. David finally understands that choosing me means sometimes choosing me over his family's comfort. He's learned to prioritize our relationship over his mother's feelings, to support me, even when it makes family gatherings awkward, to recognize manipulation when he sees it rather than dismissing it as family dynamics. Most importantly, I've learned the difference between loving someone and needing their approval. I can wish Margaret well, treat her with kindness, and even feel affection for her without requiring her to love me back. I can be a good daughter-in-law without sacrificing my self-respect or my boundaries. The cancelled birthday party was the end of one chapter of my life and the beginning of another. It was the end of trying.